Good morning, good day, and good evening to everyone all around the world. Thank you for clicking on this video, whether it is out of boredom or because you saw the title. I hope this is a satisfying video to you, whether you already know the story or whether it's your first time hearing about this character. Quick side note, I will leave out some details for the series, even though it's been well over a decade since its initial release, just in case you're interested in looking into the story. With that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy, because it's going to be a long one. This character is one of many you have known for years, spent time playing as, and referencing in comics. The one known as Commander Shepard is one of greatness, honor, and legend. You may be wondering how Shepard attained this status. Well, Lieutenant Commander Shepard is a customizable character in the Mass Effect series and has a variety of paths to take as the character. For the purpose of simplicity, I'll be covering the default background and Paragon alignment version of this character. John Shepard was born on the 11th of April in 2154 on Earth. Shepard grew up as an orphan in the mean streets of an unspecified large city. To escape the thug life and petty crimes, Shepard enlisted in the Alliance military at 18 years old, foregoing tech and biotic enhancements and sticking with the soldier life. Later into his career, Shepard is assigned to a mission that goes horribly wrong, as he was part of a unit that was attacked by a thresher maw, an enormous worm-like creature that lives underground and spits acid. Everyone in the unit would die except for Shepard, and he would be the only one left to tell the tale. In the year 2183, Commander Shepard serves as an executive officer on board the SSV Normandy as it travels through a mass relay, one of the many large devices scattered throughout the galaxy that is paramount to interstellar travel. Shepard talks with a few of his crewmates, including Jeff Joker Moreau, Cade Nalenko, Nihilus Kryek, and David Anderson, the captain of the Normandy. En route to Eden Prime, a planet of beauty and one of the first human colonies beyond Earth, Nihilus and Anderson speak with Shepard on becoming the first human Spectre, unique and elite individuals who work for the Citadel Council on preserving peace throughout the galaxy by any means necessary. Think of the Citadel Council as the judicial and legislative branch of government, while Spectres are the executive branch of government. Shepard is tasked with securing a beacon belonging to a long-dead alien race known as the Protheans. He would be teamed with Cade Nalenko and Richard Jenkins in this endeavor. After landing on a colony on Eden Prime, Shepard and Caden would see the death of Jenkins as he is killed by drones belonging to the Geth's most common enemy, the Geth. The two would not mourn for long as they continue with the mission and come across Ashley Williams, a sole survivor of her unit that were recently killed by the Geth. She would become Jenkins' replacement, and the trio will proceed with the mission and encounter more Geth and zombified humans known as Husks. They would later discover the dead body of Nihilus, who was killed by fellow Spectre and Turian, Saren Arterius. After learning from a witness named Powell that Saren killed Nihilus, they track him down to another area where bombs are planted by the Geth to destroy the colony and evidence that he's an asshole. The trio manages to defuse the bombs and find the Prothean beacon. While Shepard is communicating with the Normandy, Ashley, being the inquisitive individual she is, wanders too close to the beacon and is pulled into the beacon. Shepard saves her and is taken on an acid trip, seeing images of a disturbing past. After a brief moment, the beacon explodes and Shepard falls to the ground unconscious. Shepard wakes up on the Normandy's medbay after being unconscious for 15 hours, according to the Normandy's medbay officer, Dr. Chakwas. He begins recalling the events of the mission. Anderson checks on him and inquires about the mission and reveals Saren's hatred for humanity. In an attempt to put an end to Saren's status as a Spectre, the crew is taken to the Citadel, a space station that is home to the Citadel Council and millions of other life forms of intelligent life. Shepard, with Anderson and Donnell Udina, a human diplomat, report to the Citadel Council. 3 individuals of high social status, made of 1 Turian, 1 Asari, and 1 Solarian. The Council speaks their stance on the Eden Prime incident with Saren holographically present in the chamber. The Council refused to accept Saren's involvement on the mission, even refusing to accept Powell's testimony due to the idea of him being a traumatized victim. Saren is spared of revocation due to lack of evidence. Knowing the fate they face with Saren on the loose, Shepard goes on a journey to find evidence on Saren's involvement. He enlists the help of CSEC officer Garrus Vicarian, a Turian who hates Saren, Erdnot Rex, a Krogan bounty hunter, and Tali Zora, a Quarian tech genius. Quick side note about Quarian people, as they serve a valuable point plot in the future. 300 years ago, the Quarians lived on their homeworld, Rannoch. They created the Geth as a source of manual labor. When the Geth's intelligence grew beyond their comfort, the Quarians turned on them and a war began. The Geth would win the war, take over Rannoch, and force the Quarians to live together on board multiple starships called the Migrant Fleet. These recruits are optional, but they are a much-needed help. It was Tali who provided crucial evidence on Saren's involvement, as she took a memory core from a Geth that had a recording of Saren on Eden Prime with Matriarch Benezia, a rogue Asari. He speaks on the possibility of bringing Reapers to the Milky Way galaxy to end the human race with the use of a device known as the Conduit. This evidence is presented to the Council, and the plan to bring Saren to justice is put into play. No pun intended. Despite the Turian Councilor's initial reluctance, Shepard becomes the first human Spectre. With this promotion, Anderson is relieved of command of the Normandy, and Shepard is the new ship commander. With this new role at hand, Shepard embarks on a long and dangerous journey to stop Saren. Now, at this point, there are 3 key planets of importance: Pharos, Noveria, and Therum. Let's begin with the last one. Therum is the location of Liara T'Soni. What's so important about her, you may ask? Remember Matriarch Benezia? Liara's her daughter. So it's worth trying to get information from a family member, right? Right? Moving on. Shepard and his team fight through numerous Geth to get to Liara. She begs to be freed, and if asked, she will reveal that she has not spoken to her mother in years. Side note, if you go to the other planets first, Liara will act differently and speak of hallucinations and doubt. She is found in a Prothean security device and is set free moments later. A Krogan and some Geth on P90X approach Shepard and his team for Liara, as Saren wants her too. A fight ensues and Shepard wins the battle. Shepard and his team leave the planet with a new friend and a final squad mate. Next is Noveria, where you will confront Matriarch Benezia. Shepard and his team land on the frozen planet, and like previous missions in the game, will encounter Geth. They will also encounter a long-thought dead species known as the Rachni.
Oh, what the hell's that creepy little thing?
Shepard and his team encounter Benezia, and after an intense battle involving more Geth and Asari commandos, she regains control of her mental sanity and reveals that she is indoctrinated, essentially brainwashed by the Reapers. She is also holding Arachni Queen hostage for information, and that Saren is a tool for the bigger threat, Sovereign. More on him later. She succumbs to indoctrination again, and another battle ensues. Once she is defeated again, she dies. The Arachni Queen possesses a nearby Asari commando to communicate with Shepard. From here, you have the option of freeing her, or dumping acid on her and putting an end to the Arachni species once and for all.
The choice is yours.
It's not like the consequences of your action are going to affect the future, right? The last planet is Pharos. Shepard and his team land on the young colony of Zoo's Hope. There is a Geth infestation on the colony because Saren sent them there. After defeating multiple enemies, it is revealed that the reason for this is for Saren to kill a creature known as Species 37, aka the Thorian. The Thorian was possessing colonists of Zoo's Hope, so that's enough reason to investigate further. Through killing Geth and Husks, the team would eventually come across the Thorian, which is revealed to be an enormous plant creature that has lived for thousands of years. The method behind the controlling of the colonists was through releasing spores in the air that they had been inhaling. Shepard and his team then killed the Thorian by shooting at its limbs and fighting off numerous enemies it unleashed on them. Eventually, another Asari named Shiala would emerge. She reveals that she worked with Matriarch Benezia and that the Thorian was to be killed by Saren. So Shepard could not gain more knowledge on the vision the Prothean beacon left on him. Shepard gains possession of the item known as a cipher, which is used to clarify the vision Shepard had experienced. He will then be given another dilemma. You can either let her live to help the colony or kill her.
The choice is yours.
After completing the missions and gaining the necessary information and items, Shepard and his team go to Vermeer to put an end to Saren's shenanigans. They meet with the Solarian Special Tasks Group, at which point one of your squad mates will have to work with the STG as a diversion team. You can choose either Caden or Ashley for this. The next mission involves Shepard and his team to infiltrate and destroy Saren's base by fighting Geth and Husks. Later in the mission, Shepard will encounter a hologram of Sovereign, one of many Reapers whose goal is to establish a galactic reset by killing all organic life every 50,000 years. Shepard and his team will continue with the mission and eventually plant a bomb to destroy the base. With the bomb nearly set, the diversion team is facing trouble elsewhere. The squadmate you didn't choose to team to the SCG will elect to stay behind to finish setting the bomb so the others can go help. On the way to helping the SCG, the bomb-setting squadmate faces Geth surrounding the bomb to stop it. Now you are faced with one of the toughest choices you will make in the entire series. Save Kaidan or save Ashley. Whoever you choose to save, the other will die. Either option will lead to fighting Saren. After the battle, Saren escapes death and lives on to fight another day. Shepard and his team escape Virmire with the squadmate you chose to save and leave the other behind to die in a quick but heartbreaking death as the bomb obliterates the base. For the purpose of simplicity, Ashley is the one that is saved on Virmire. Sorry, Kaidan. Back on the Normandy, the crew mourns the death of Kaidan. Liara will help you find out that the next location Saren is going to is a planet called Ilos. The Council requests Shepard's presence on the Citadel. Once there, Shepard fights to hunt Saren down to Ilos, but the Council argues that the Reapers and the Conjure are a figment of imagination made by Saren as a distraction for his attack on the Citadel. Despite Shepard's persistence, they ground both Shepard and the Normandy to the Citadel. This grounding would be temporary, as Captain Anderson would assist Shepard in getting off the station to defeat Saren. Shepard gets the Normandy up and running to go to Ilos. Once on Ilos, Shepard and his team fight through Geth and beat Saren to the Conduit, and a VI named Vigil will reveal that the Conduit is a prototypical mass relay built by the Protheans, and that it links to the Citadel. Vigil gives Shepard a file that temporarily gives access to the Citadel and to follow Saren. Shepard and his team make it to the Conduit and transport to the Citadel to find that Saren has already wreaked havoc, and is attempting to bring Sovereign to the Citadel to wreak even more havoc. Shepard and his team fight to get to Saren, who is in the Council chambers. Sovereign enters the Citadel with an armada of Geth ships ready to end all life. Shepard and his team eventually make it to the Citadel chambers and battle Saren. After taking enough damage, he will fall to his death. Using Vigil's file, Shepard has control of the Citadel. He opens the communication channel and hears disaster. The Council are on board a ship called the Destiny Ascension, being bombarded with fire from Geth ships. Joker radios Shepard and informs him that the Normandy is with a fleet of Alliance ships. He asks if Shepard wants to save the Council or hold back and let the Council die.
The choice is yours.
Either decision will lead to the fleet fighting Sovereign and into another final battle with Saren, as he is transformed into a synthetic version of his former self. He is eventually killed for the final time. The fleet will also prevail in their assault on Sovereign at the cost of many Alliance ships. For the sake of simplicity, we will go with the fact that Shepard decided to save the Council. In the aftermath of the battle, Shepard is congratulated for saving the Council and the sacrifice of the lives of those of the fleet. A decision is given to Shepard on who will fill the role of human counselor. It can either be Udina, who the Council members are bewildered to hear Shepard's request, or it can be Anderson, who helped Shepard the most outside the Normandy crew. An alternative option could be to let the Council decide who will fill the role. No matter which option is chosen, Shepard will depart and continue his quest to stop more Reapers from attacking in the future. Aside from the main story, Shepard is also involved in stopping the Batarian extremist group in the Asgard system and partaking in combat missions on Pinnacle Station. One month after the Battle of the Citadel, the Council sends Shepard out to find any remaining Geth in space in case of another potential attack. While patrolling near the planet of Alkera, the Normandy is attacked by an unknown cruiser, knocking out all weapons defenses in the process. The order to abandon ship is given and all obey the order except Joker, who is desperately trying to save the Normandy. Shepard orders Ashley or Liara, depending on the romance option, sorry Kaidan, to get the remaining crew off the ship while he rescues Joker. Shepard is successful in doing so despite Joker's reluctance.
Watch the arm!
While getting Joker in an escape pod, the attacking vessel shoots a beam between Shepard and the escape pod. Shepard ensures that Joker makes it out alive and dies with the ship he commanded. 21 people, including Shepard, will be killed in this incident. His death will not last forever, as for the next 2 years, in 2185, Shepard will be revived in an operation known as the Lazarus Project by a pro-human organization known as Cerberus. Shepard would awaken early and unfinished from Operation to chaos as the base he is on is under attack by hacked robots called Loki mechs. Miranda Lawson, a medical officer in charge of the Lazarus Project, instructs Shepard to get out of his beauty nap and arm himself. Shepard proceeds to shoot through the mechs, eventually meeting Jacob Taylor. The two will work together and find a medical officer named Wilson, who is injured and of great suspicion. The trio will make their way to the shuttle to escape off the station, when Miranda would see Wilson and shoot him dead. Why would she commit murder like that? Well, it was Wilson that set the mechs free to kill Shepard. The new trio would leave the station to take Shepard to meet the elusive man, leader of Cerberus. Tim explains that the human colonies are under attack and thousands of colonists are disappearing. He tells Shepard to investigate the incident, starting with the human colony of Freedom's Progress. While on the human colony, Shepard and his team meets Tally, the Quarian from the last game, leading her own team of Quarians. They work together to find that another Quarian named Vitor was present while the human colonists were under attack. Through fighting mechanical robots, the Cerberus trio manages to find Vitor, who shows them video footage of the mystery of the disappearance of the human colonists. In the footage, it is discovered that an alien species known as the Collectors are responsible for the attack. The Collectors are a hostile alien species that live beyond the Omega-4 relay, where many ships have passed through, but none have returned. They live near the edge of a black hole at the galactic center and are rarely, if ever, seen anywhere near the civilized portion of the galaxy. They are considered a myth to some because of their rare appearances. Their access to the Omega-4 relay is evidence to their connection to the Reapers. With this discovery and a debriefing of the investigation, Tim instructs Shepard to gather together the toughest, smartest, and deadliest individuals to combat against these creatures. Shepard is even given a new ship in the suicide mission and sees the return of Joker and a new AI named Edie. The initial recruits include Jack, a psychotic biotic, Morden Solus, a Solarian scientist, Warlord O'Keir, a Krogan scientist, which is really rare, who was replaced by a genetically modified Krogan super soldier named Grunt. Everyone's favorite Turian from the previous game, Garrus Vakarian, aka Archangel. Quick trivia: his recruitment mission is referenced in Mass Effect Homeworld. Optional recruits include Zaid Masani, a bounty hunter, and Kasumi Goto, master of stealth, theft, and infiltration. Also returning is Dr. Chakwas. After recruiting the non-optional crew, Tim informs Shepard that the human colony of Horizon is about to be attacked by the Collectors. It is also the location of Ashley Williams, as she is there to help repair the defense system. Just before Shepard and his team gets there, the colony is under attack and the process of human abduction is underway. It is revealed that the Collectors are under the indoctrination of Harbinger, a Reaper with the ability to possess the Collectors, including their general. Shepard and his team fight through the Collectors, Husks, and the Praetorian to get the defense systems back in working order. They are successful in doing so, but learn that unfortunately, half the colonists are taken by the Collectors. Shepard leaves the colony and begins recruiting more individuals for this mission, to include Thane Krios, a spiritual Drell who is an assassin and is dying from a disease known as Kerpel Syndrome, Samara, an Asari who lives by a strict moral code, and Tally. We all know her. After recruiting the finalists of the suicide mission, Tim sends Shepard to investigate a Collector ship that is disabled by a Turian patrol team to learn how the Collectors managed to enter and exit through the Omega-4 relay. It is later discovered that they use a Reaper IFF, Identify Friend Foe.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
It is also discovered that the Collectors are heavily modified versions of Protheans. With this new information, the crew locate a disabled Reaper vessel to acquire the IFF. On the vessel, Shepard and his team encounters a Geth that uses a sniper rifle to kill Husks that attempted to harm the trio. Later in the mission, the trio manages to attain the IFF and rescue the Geth. It would later name itself Legion, It is a single mobile platform composed of 1,183 Geth.
My name is Legion, for we are many.
After obtaining the IFF, the entire squad would go on the mission, leaving only the non-combat personnel on the Normandy. This opened a window for the collectors to sneak in and abduct some of the personnel. Joker, with the help of Edie, rids the Normandy of the collectors, though he would be the only one of the crew, about 15 personnel, to not be abducted. For the sake of simplicity, we're going to go with the following paths. The Normandy is upgraded, all squad members' loyalties are earned, and Shepard goes to get the crew immediately after the abduction happened.
The collectors took my people. Time to go get them back.
All these paths lead to the best possible outcome prior to the final mission. With that being said, it's time for the squad to take the fight to the collectors. They pass through the Omega-4 relay, entering a massive debris field of ancient ships that attempted to pass through the relay without the Reaper IFF. While Joker is carefully maneuvering around the debris to collect their homeworld, the squad is attacked by one of the base's defense drones known as the Oculus. The trio manages to destroy the Oculus and even get payback by destroying a collector cruiser, similar to the one at the start of the game.
How do you like that, you sons of bitches?
This celebratory redemption would be cut short as the Normandy crash lands on the base and is in need of ample time to get back online to leave the base. Luckily for them, because of the collector's cockiness and the lack of internal security measures, they remain undetected. The squad infiltrates the base. Using the appropriate squad mates in certain situations helps the survival of the team. The squad fights through different enemies, including the collectors, obviously, husks, and swarmers. It is later learned that the abducted colonists are held in tubes that liquefies their bodies. The crew of the Normandy are found in some of these tubes and rescued. They are led back to the Normandy for pickup as Shepard and his team continue forward to destroy the collector base. They would later find out what the liquefied humans were for. They were used to create a human Reaper. It is incomplete, but it was in progress for far too long. The human Reaper is awakened and a fight ensues. After a long battle, the Reaper is defeated. As Shepard prepares to plant a bomb on the base to destroy it, Tim asks to preserve the base for research purposes. For the sake of continuity, Shepard declines this offer. The Reaper returns with a vengeance, but is soon killed off. Shepard and his team take a nasty fall from the Reaper's overdramatic death, though they will survive. Shepard gets word that everyone, squad and crew, manages to make it to the Normandy, and the only people not present is Shepard and the two that he needed for the mission. They would make it to the Normandy and escape the destruction of the collector base, giving a giant middle finger to the collectors. With all the crew making it out of the nightmare alive and being tired of Tim's assholery, Shepard breaks ties with Cerberus.
It ain't nothing to cut that bitch off.
And warns of the coming threat, the Reapers. Outside of the main mission, Shepard also takes part in numerous other missions, including recovering the remains of the Normandy, helping Liara become a shadow broker, a person who sells valuable information, encountering a rogue VI, and rescuing a scientist who claims to have proof of the incoming Reaper invasion. Six months after the events of Mass Effect 2, Shepard is back on Earth. The Normandy is grounded, Shepard is discharged, and is put on trial for his actions with Cerberus. Shepard walks with Admiral David Anderson to speak before the committee. Shepard runs into Ashley Williams and learns that she has been promoted to Lieutenant Commander.
Lieutenant Commander?
They have an awkward conversation before Shepard enters before the committee. They really requested his presence to confirm what Shepard spent 2 games telling people.
The Reapers are here.
And they're coming with a vengeance. Footage is shown of Reapers beginning their assault on Earth, and as if it happened on cue, a Reaper appears behind the committee and blasts a beam towards them. Anderson and Shepard are the only two to survive in the room, and they fight their way to the Normandy amid the chaos. Shepard encounters a scared little boy who is questionably a hallucination.
Shepard!
Shepard and Anderson continue to press forward to the Normandy, only for Anderson to persuade Shepard to gather the forces of the entire galaxy to combat the Reaper threat, as the Reapers will come for the other species next. Shepard is reinstated as Lieutenant Commander and embarks on a daring challenge with initial squad members Ashley Williams and James Vega, the FNG. The original plan was to plot a course for the Citadel until Admiral Hackett, a man who frequently speaks with Shepard throughout the trilogy, ordered Shepard to go to Mars to gather Prothean data on how to defeat the Reapers, as the Protheans were the first species to face the Reapers using a device known as the Crucible that went unfinished before they could put it to use. On Mars, Shepard and his team encounter Cerberus troops, and they would eventually encounter an old friend, Liara T'Soni. She provides help in their search for the Prothean data. Were Cerberus troops looking for the data as well? Vega is ordered back to the Normandy in case Cerberus troops gain possession of the data first. Through combating Cerberus forces, Shepard encounters a hologram of another old friend, the Elusive Man. Triggered from Shepard leaving Cerberus, the Elusive Man warns Shepard of interfering with Cerberus' operations, though Shepard would ignore the warning and continue searching for the data. They would eventually find it in the hands of Eva Corey, a robotic infiltrator working for Cerberus. They engage in a brief chase for Corey. As she appears to escape from the trio in a Cerberus shuttle, Vega crashes a Normandy shuttle into hers and prevents her from escaping. The trio would obtain the Prothean data in the wreckage. In Corey's burning shuttle, she emerges. As Ashley attempts to shoot at Corey, she grabs Ashley by the face. Corey contacts the Elusive Man and he gives her the order to finish her. As she runs toward the remaining squad, Shepard shoots Corey until her robotic body stops moving. Ashley and Corey are taken aboard the Normandy and taken to the Citadel for Ashley to get medical attention. Once on the Citadel, Ashley is taken to Huerta Memorial Hospital to get her injuries treated. Shepard then makes his way to the Council chamber to discuss the Reaper invasion on Earth. As Shepard asks for assistance to save Earth, the Council members are hesitant to do so, as their own species are facing a similar predicament. In an effort to gain trust with the Council, the Turian Counselor informs Shepard of Primarch Fedorian that is in need of some assistance on Menae, the moon of the Turian homeworld of Palaven. Shepard returns to the Normandy to get some much-needed rest and dreams of a kid that he tried to save on Earth, which concludes with the kid burning before Shepard. On Palaven, the search for the Primarch begins as the Normandy crew witnesses chaos ensuing as the Reapers are massacring the best military force in the galaxy. Through fighting Husks, Shepard and his team would encounter General Corinthus, who informs them that Primarch Fedorian is dead. To find out who the new Primarch is, the trio has to repair the communications tower. The trio are able to repair the tower and return back to Corinthus. There we see the return of everyone's favorite Tyrian, Garrus Vakarian. Corinthus tells the team that General Adrian Victus is the new Primarch. Garrus will join a team, replacing one of the squad mates in search of General Victus. Through fighting more Reaper forces, Victus is found and informs Shepard that the Krogan are needed to not only save Palaven, but to also assist Shepard in the war efforts. Back on the Normandy, Edie would take possession of Eva Corey's body and become a new addition to the ground squad. Later on in the game, a meeting takes place between Shepard, Dalatrast Linron, Primarch Victus, and the Elgin Krogan, Rex, who informs the members that he is in need of a cure of the Krogan disease known as the genophage. Long story short, thousands of years ago, Krogans were used to fight for the Council. When their population began to skyrocket and their expansion became too aggressive, the Solarians developed the genophage to reduce the probability of pregnancy in the females. The Turians were the ones to deploy the genophage, establishing a deep mistrust and hatred of Solarians and Turians among the Krogans. The agreement happens to Dalatrast's dismay, as she hid the fact that there are female Krogans immune to the genophage and are kept on the Solarian homeworld of Surkesh. The crew makes their way to the planet. While on Surkesh, Shepard runs into Morden, the friendly Solarian from the previous game. Morden assists Shepard in rescuing a female Krogan. Rex will also warn Shepard that Cerberus is there to kill the female. The battle is won after fighting multiple hostile Cerberus troops. Shepard boards the Normandy and learns that the Crucible is under reconstruction. The female Krogan goes by the name Eve, and the next fight will take place on the Krogan homeworld of Tuchanka. In case you're wondering where some of the other characters are in this story, here's an update. Ashley is still on the Citadel recovering from her injuries, and through time, she will eventually recover and become the second human Spectre. Dr. Chakwas is on the Citadel and is optional to return to the Normandy. Miranda is also on the Citadel and is on the run from the Elusive Man, as she is no longer working for Cerberus. Thane is on the Citadel, slowly dying from his disease. Jack is on Grissom Academy, preparing students for the Galactic War. Kasumi is on the Citadel and can assist in war efforts. Zaid is busy making life hell for Cerberus, though he would return to the Citadel. Grunt is running his own team and is fighting off the Rachni. Remember them. Steve Cortez is the new addition to the Normandy crew and is the one piloting the shuttle. There is also an optional character by the name of Javik, the last living Prothean who is in the stasis pod for 50,000 years. He is found on Eden Prime, the first mission in the first Mass Effect game. The others, well, we'll get to them later. For now, let's get back to the main story. On Tuchanka, the cure for the genophage is finalizing, with Eve being the primary factor in the implementation of it. To implement the cure, it is needed to be dispersed on the top of a tower built by the Solarians known as the Shroud. The threat of the Reaper enemies and the Reaper is present throughout the mission. However, there's another threat, a Thresher Maw by the name of Calros. The Reaper lands on the planet in the path of the Shroud. The only way to take it down is with the assistance of Calros. In order to call it, Maw hammers are called. Once the hammers are activated, Calros makes a snuggle buddy with the Reaper, and they live symbiotically ever after. The Reaper wouldn't go down without causing turmoil. En route to the Shroud, they learn that it is heavily damaged from the battle with the Reaper, and are advised to retreat from the building as it is likely to explode. Morden is still willing to press on to cure the Krogans. So, there are different options to this outcome, but we're going to go with the one with the happier ending. Prior to the mission, Dalatrash Linron offers Shepard war resources if he forgoes helping cure the Krogans.
No one will notice the change. They need not be any the wiser. Let Erdnot Rex believe you fulfilled your promise.
Letting his allies know about this will allow Morden to fix the Shroud and spread the cure. On the way to the top of the tower, Morden willingly puts his personal safety at risk to fix the Shroud control room. In the control room, Morden is able to fix the device and successfully begins spreading the cure. Happy to see that his work has led to some good, Morden sings a Solarian song in his last moments of life. The control room explodes, killing him. Morden's sacrifice is heartfelt and honored among those on Tuchanka. With the cure, the Krogans agree to help the Turians on Paladin, which in turn not only means the Krogans will also help Shepard in his war efforts, but the Turians will also help. Shepard gets some much needed rest after going through non-stop action. He has another dream similar to the previous. The next day, Shepard speaks with the Solarian counselor and briefly speaks about Shepard's choice in saving the Krogans. He would then turn his attention to Udina and his unusual financial patterns and ask Shepard to look into it more. It is later revealed as a desperate attempt by Udina to gain troop support on Earth. On the way to the Citadel, it becomes apparent that something is off. As Joker asks for permission to land in the docking bay, there is no answer coming through. Thane contacts Shepard and informs him that Cerberus troops have invaded the Citadel and are wreaking havoc. Shepard and his team drops into the Citadel via shuttle near C-Sec HQ and engage Cerberus troops in a long and brutal battle. With some help from a C-Sec officer named Bailey, they learn that the Solarian counselor is in danger. Moving through more Cerberus troops, the team would eventually find him being stalked by Kai Lang, a Cerberus assassin. The team is in a standoff with Lang before Thane appears and fights him. Now, keep in mind, Thane is still battling his disease. Thane almost wins the fight, but Lang would impale him with his sword and run away to safety.
Why you run off like little bitch?
The Solarian counselor is saved, and despite the best efforts to get revenge on a fallen friend, Lang will live to fight another day. While on top of an elevator to kill Lang, Shepard mistakes another elevator for one he's in, though the elevator is ridden by Ashley, Udina, the Turian counselor, and the Asari counselor. In a tense standoff, Shepard and Ashley would debate on who's right and who's wrong, with Cerberus troops on the way to take out the rest of the counselors. For the sake of simplicity, let me explain the better ending. Shepard convinces Ashley that he's the good guy. Udina attempts to reach out to Cerberus troops, but with the intervention of the Asari counselor, he fails.
Gotcha, bitch!
Triggered by his plan failing, he shoves her down and points a gun at her. Shepard shoots Udina dead and saves her life. Shepard and his team are seen as the saviors of the Citadel. In the aftermath of this grueling mission, Kai Lang is on the run.
Like little bitch!
Thane would unfortunately succumb to his wounds. And Ashley becomes a member of the Normandy again, though this is choice dependent. Following the second battle of the Citadel, Shepard has the option to visit some old friends, Jacob Taylor and Samara, and save lives. Otherwise, Admiral Hackett informs Shepard that the Quarians are willing to join the war efforts against the Reapers. The Quarian leaders are brought on to Normandy to discuss plans on stopping Reaper-controlled Geth that they are at war with and push back on the Quarian homeworld of Rannoch. Taylor reveals himself as an admiral and joins the squad again. The first step in stopping the Geth involves infiltrating a Geth dreadnought, which is broadcasting Reaper signals. While on the Geth vessel, Shepard and his team battle through multiple variations of Geth troops, as one should assume. Through their battle with the corrupt Geth, their travels would eventually lead them to the source of the Reaper signal. It would be none other than Legion, which is held against its will. Releasing Legion would allow him to shut down the signal. The team will leave the dreadnought with Legion. After some time, the crew will land on Rannoch to destroy the Reaper base located on the planet. Through fighting corrupted Geth, it is revealed later in the mission that the Reaper base is actually a whole Reaper. Shepard connects with the Normandy and the Migrant fleet to rain fire upon the Reaper to take it down. The combined firepower brings the Reaper down and gives its final words to Shepard, threatening the army of other Reapers that are coming to end their organic life. With the Reaper dead, the leaders of the Migrant fleet attack Geth ships that they have been battling in the skies above. Legion insists on uploading a code to all Geth to make them more powerful, but act on their own. Tally protests against this action, fearing that the Geth will kill all of her people with the upload. While there are two difficult paths to choose from, there is another that requires you to play the games right. The alternative option is the one I will explain. Shepard tells Legion to continue with the upload of the code, while he talks some sense into the Quarian leaders. Despite initial reluctance, the Quarians stop firing their weapons at the Geth, ending the 300-year-long war. Legion sacrifices itself to complete the code. With the war between the Geth and Quarians over, they agree not only to work together to live a better life on Rannoch, but they also agree to help Shepard in the war against the Reapers. Tally would also tag along for the rest of the adventure. Following what transpired on Rannoch, the Asari counselor will contact Shepard to meet her on the Citadel in Udina's old office. Once there, she informs Shepard that the Asari homeworld, Thessia, is in deep trouble. She tells Shepard of an artifact to help complete the Crucible by locating one of the final pieces, the Catalyst. She gives Shepard the location of the artifact, and he takes the Normandy to Thessia, which is overrun with Reaper creatures. Shepard and his team battle through multiple enemies, getting to the Temple of Athame, the location of the artifact. The artifact turns out to be a Prothean beacon. This explains how the Asari became so advanced and kept secrets away from the other species. More investigation leads to the activation of a Prothean VI named Vendetta, providing more crucial information. The VI notices another being in the area. It turns out to be an old friend.
You.
When Lane gets hurt enough, he will gain the upper hand and defeat the team. He takes Vendetta and leaves. As Shepard and his team recover, two Reapers appear and dismantle the planet. In the aftermath of the mission, Shepard informs the Asari counselor of the decimation of her planet. Liara is bothered by her homeworld being destroyed, and Shepard plans to track down Kai Lang and put an end to his annoyance. He is tracked down to Horizon. Miranda will also be there in search of her sister, Oriana, against her father, Henry, who is also working for the Elusive Man. Through fighting Cerberus troops and Reaper beings, Shepard and his team meets Miranda and Henry with Oriana as a hostage. She is visibly hurt from battle with Kai Lang. Through talking with Henry, he is eventually killed by Miranda. Her survival is dependent on how Shepard has interacted with her in the game. Kai Lang would again be on the run. Miranda reveals that she placed a tracker on Kai Lang. The next mission will take place at Cerberus HQ. The mission is to recover Vendetta and bring an end to Cerberus forces. With the help of the Alliance, the assault commences. While at Cerberus HQ, Shepard learns more about his procedure during the Lazarus Project.
We're not losing Shepard. Lawson will find a way. We'll want some old friends as well.
And the team will discover the heart of the Human Reaper from the previous game. Eventually, the team will discover the area where the Elusive Man spent so much time sitting and smoking in the last game. Though there is no Elusive Man, he will appear as a hologram like he's done throughout the game, and talks about controlling the Reapers to Shepard, though this conversation goes nowhere. EDI gains information on where Vendetta is. As the VI is brought back up, it reveals that the Catalyst is the Citadel. The Elusive Man knows where the Catalyst is, and that the Elusive Man has fled to the Citadel and told the Reapers to take control of the Citadel and move it to Earth. Before the team can spring into action, Kai Lang appears to battle them one last time. His treachery and annoyance is an unwelcome sight, but he is eventually incapacitated after a lengthy battle, though he is not dead. While everyone is distracted, Lang rises again and attempts to kill Commander Shepard.
Nope. Go to your fucking place, trash.
Shepard speaks with Anderson about the Citadel orbiting Earth. The two agree that it's time to put an end to the Reaper threat and return to Earth. The final battle begins with the might of all organic and synthetic life that Shepard has gathered over the course of the game for this one moment, entering through the Soul Relay. Thousands of starships begin firing upon dozens of Reapers. The fight continues as the Normandy lands on Earth. Shepard and his team fight through Reaper-controlled enemies to take out a lone Reaper that is wreaking havoc nearby. The goal is to destroy its firing mechanism and kill any enemy that gets in the way. Once this is accomplished, there is a shuttle to pick up the ground team. Anderson and Shepard greet each other.
Dylan! You son of a bitch!
The team lands near the Ford operating base. This is where Shepard can give his final solaces to the team that he has fought with from the beginning until the end. Shepard prepares his team to march into the final battle and potential death. Their goal is to take down another Reaper and reach the conduit. The team fights through hordes of Reaper creatures before eventually encountering the Reaper itself. While continuing to fight Reaper creatures, Shepard and his team are also trying to destroy the Reaper. The team will eventually succeed in taking down the Reaper and make way to the conduit. Once the Alliance forces are at the conduit, it is now a straight shot. And it seems like a relatively easy task. Until Harbinger itself appears for the first time. Now it's a race of the Alliance fleet against the might of a Reaper. As Shepard and his team are running toward the conduit, Harbinger makes short work of most of the Alliance. And for the sake of simplicity, here's the story. Shepard's team is forced to evacuate themselves when they are badly injured from an exploding vehicle. The Normandy comes to pick them up. However, Shepard elects to stay behind to finish the war. The heartbroken teammates are forced to watch their leader run off into what seems like an inevitable death. One of the final attacks that comes from Harbinger hits Shepard and all remaining Alliance personnel. Shepard will turn out to be alive from the attack, but is gravely injured. He moves with every ounce of will that he has left in his broken body to accomplish the mission. Shepard makes it to the conduit and is sent to the pits of the Citadel to find the death of alien species. Shepard communicates with Anderson, who made it through the conduit. Once Shepard meets back with him, he finds that Anderson is being controlled by the Elusive Man, who would also take possession of Shepard. Shepard will try to talk sense to the Elusive Man by telling him that he's indoctrinated. Eventually, while realizing his mistake, the Elusive Man kills himself. Shepard and Anderson take a moment to chat one last time before Anderson succumbs to his wounds.
You did good, son. You did good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Anderson?
Shepard, now alone, gains access to the Citadel and begins talking to the Catalyst, who appears as the form of the kid that he met in the beginning of the game. The Catalyst will then present Shepard with options that will lead to death and destruction. Option 1. Destroy. Shepard shoots at a device and destroys it, causing an explosion while he is in close proximity to the blast radius. This results in all synthetic life being killed off. This includes Reapers, Edie, Geth, and other synthetic life. The Crucible fires a red beam, destroying the Citadel and all the mass relays in the galaxy. The pros of this option: the Reaper threat is gone. The con is the cost of friendly synthetics and the eventual return of synthetics. Control. Shepard essentially sides with the elusive man and decides to make the Reapers his to control. Shepard grabs onto electrical beams with each hand and disintegrates, becoming an AI in the process. The Reapers retreat and the Crucible sends off a blue pulse to all mass relays and destroys them. Pros of this choice: the Reapers are gone and decide to play nice, or according to how Commander Shepard wants them to. The con: if Shepard decides to be an asshole, he could potentially turn the Reapers evil again. Synthesis. This option is considered the most peaceful choice. Shepard decides to combine synthetic life and organic life. He jumps into an energy beam and disintegrates. A green beam of energy is sent throughout the galaxy, and the mass relays are destroyed. The pros of this choice: it's the most peaceful choice of the other options. The con: it brings the question if it was right for Shepard to make a galaxy-wide decision to combine synthetics and organic lives against one's will. Refusal. Without a doubt, the worst option to choose from. Essentially, Shepard refuses to choose any of the previous options, and proving all the events leading up to this moment were essentially a waste of time. The Reapers will win in the end. All organic life is killed off, and the Reapers rest for the next 50,000 years. Liara leaves a message for the future civilization that happens to stumble upon her message. Pro of this choice: you know that there's a fourth ending. The con of this choice: essentially everything, and it's also the fact that this ending is even a choice. No matter what ending is chosen, it would appear to be the end of Commander Shepard. Joker reluctantly leaves the solar system while the master relays are being destroyed. As the beam gets closer to the Normandy, the ship will crash land on an Earth-like planet. Some of the crew members would exit the Normandy and gaze upon the horizon. Various endings will have Shepard memorialized on the Normandy, as his name is placed on the memorial wall by whoever Shepard romanced. In the Destroy ending, which some believe to be the true ending, Shepard is seen buried underneath rubble and takes a breath, indicating that he survived the explosion. It is unconfirmed which ending is the true ending, as the developers have stated that there is no canon ending. During the events of Mass Effect 3, Shepard can take part in discovering more about the origins of the Reapers to find the Leviathan, helping Arya Talok retake Omega, and fighting a clone of himself, and enjoying shore leave. First and foremost, Shepard is a soldier. Combat is his game, no pun intended, and he is a graduate of the N7 program. The N7 program is an elite special forces organization, with N representing the special forces and the 7 representing the level of proficiency, 7 being the highest. His skills are highly respected as he became the first human Spectre. Shepard's class, or combat expertise, include Adept, a biotic specialist able to use Mass Effect fields and Element Zero to harm enemies from a distance. They will use their biotic skills over shooting weapons. Engineer, a tech specialist, utilizing hacking and reverse engineering in combat. They are able to hack into synthetic beings such as the Geth or mechanical robots to temporarily allow them to fight alongside Shepard and his team. Soldier, a combat specialist and Shepard's default class. This class carries the most weapons of all classes and is arguably the toughest class of all. Vanguard, a combat and biotic specialist, using mostly shotguns, submachine guns, pistols, and their biotic skills. Sentinel, a biotic and tech specialist, using mostly pistols and submachine guns while utilizing their biotic and tech abilities in a support role. Infiltrator, a tech and combat specialist utilizing stealth as a combat advantage. Their weapons specialty includes pistols, sniper rifles, submachine guns, and their tech skills. Thank you for watching this video. Commander Shepard is one of the most beloved characters in recent gaming memory, and it's a shame that we may never get a chance to see a character quite like him for a very long time. I still believe that Mass Effect should still live on despite the underperformance of the most recent addition to the Mass Effect series. Should Shepard's story continue on after the Reaper threat? Probably not. I remember reading a YouTube comment on a video one time. It says something along the lines of, "Not everyone gets to go home, and that's what makes them legends." That's exactly what Commander Shepard is. A damn legend. It's better to leave him as he is now instead of trying to relive the past. But enough about what I think. Give me your thoughts on Commander Shepard. Subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Eccentric Comics IG, so you can see when I update my followers on my video progress. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.